One would think that their family is the safest place for them. Sisters are supposed to be the most trusted confidant. Well, this case might prove otherwise.
Mr. Griffin, you were a married man who had a 2-year affair with your wife's stepsister.
What does Mrs. Richmond claim? Does she deny the affair?
Miss Richmond, you admit to the affair with Mr. Griffin.
Why did she choose to breach her sister's trust?
Not thinking, just being wild at that time of my age, and just not caring about anything. I can admit to that.
Not caring for the consequences is definitely a selfish move. It ends up hurting the other person in the equation. Let's come to Mr. Griffin. Cheating has no excuses. And to top that, he ended up being in a relationship with his wife's sister. What was going on in his mind?
That was an honest mistake, Your Honor.
Wait, what? Seriously? It was a conscious decision. And he was certainly aware of her identity. How is that a mistake? Seems like Judge Lake shared my mistrust.
But at the same...
Wait, now there wasn't no mistaken identity. You knew it was your wife's sister.
Does he have the spine to own up?
Was it an honest mistake or a dishonest mistake?
Dishonest mistake.
Okay, how long did that mistake go on for?
I'd say about 2 years.
2 years?
About a year. I know a year.
Aha! Mr. Griffin, 2 years isn't a mistake. It's a goddamn choice. How did he react when Mrs. Richmond informed him of the child?
He came over to my house, and he picked her up, and he, put her up to the light, and he said, yeah, she could be mine.
It looked like he was convinced from the very beginning.
So you've never had a doubt?
Never had a doubt.
In 30 years?
In 30 years.
But then what led Miss Richmond to have doubts? Well, she admits herself.
I was with 2 other guys.
So you were admitting during the window of conception, you were also sleeping with 2 other men?
Yes, Your Honor.
So how did Mr. Griffin confess this mess to his wife? He must have, right?
I didn't.
That's a really spineless move. I feel bad for the wife. Nobody deserves to stay in the dark, but she must have eventually found out because you know how the saying goes. 3 things cannot be hidden for long: the sun, the moon, and the truth. And so did Tykia, the daughter. Let's see how she found out the truth.
Like the first time someone brought his name up, my mom never brought his name up.
Uh-oh, that must have felt really existential.
Everybody always say, you look just like those Griffins. And I'm like, who is the Griffin? She's like, oh no.
I kid you not. I was silently shedding a tear when she said this.
When people ask me who's my dad, I always said my whole life, I don't have a dad, I don't know my dad.
It is so difficult to imagine what she must have gone through in her life. As fate would have it, she also lost her husband very recently.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And he was a firefighter. I loved him to death, and he drowned.
It's devastating. Really brave of her to keep going despite these huge personal losses. It was finally time to put a closure to paternity doubts.
Mr. Griffin, you are not her father.
Oh no, turns out she wasn't getting any clarity, but at least her mother promised, saying,
I'm just gonna have to help her find it because I got names for her, so.
I hope she gets all the help and assurance she deserves.
Ms. Currington, you claim during a torrid older-younger love affair, the defendant fathered your 5-month-old daughter, Keora.
What does the defendant claim?
You and your daughter say that the plaintiff may be young, but is a known playgirl and claims you are the father only for financial gain.
So he denies paternity and doesn't matter what the results are. Can I just say that this guy is a very big creep? The age difference suggests that he must have taken advantage of her immaturity. Ms. Currington claims that it was a planned pregnancy.
You planned the baby.
Yes, we did. He wanted to have a baby by me, and that was that. And we kept trying and trying and trying.
On the other hand, Mr. Larson paints her as some Gone Girl villain.
She's a player. She's unpredictable. She played a game with my emotion.
One would think that women would have each other's backs now more than ever, right? Turns out Miss Larson, Kim's daughter, has the nastiest allegations against Miss Currington.
I know these types of women. They prey on men like this.
That was uncalled for. Now let's try to get Miss Currington's perspective. How, or should I ask why, did she begin this affair with a man who's almost 25 years older than her?
He came in, he approached me, asked me if I seen his girlfriend at that time.
Judge Lake sums it up better.
And so you were interested in him when you helped him look for his girlfriend.
Yeah.
So she was attracted to him. And as it turns out, Mr. Larson didn't shy away from a little flexing.
Oh, look at you with your little muscles, Mr. Larson.
Thanks, Otter. Thanks, Otter. I'm very attractive.
Did I say little? Sorry, I meant a lot of flexing. The attraction was mutual, and in his own creepy way, Mr. Larson confirmed the same.
I was attracted to her thickness.
Yes, can't make this up. Things seem to be going well, so why did they break up?
Because she had multiple guys. I don't trust her. She's conniving. I can't trust her. Excuse me, girl.
Oh, so trust issues. Got it. What's Miss Currington's take on this? Was she involved with any other men?
No, I just had a one-night stand.
Mr. Kim's daughter had something interesting to share.
Last time I checked, she was dating some old man.
Looks like Miss Currington certainly has a type, and she didn't hold back either.
I don't know. He
And I
looked
still
40 to
am.
50.
Mr. Kim apparently begged her to come back.
And this is his exact words. Oh, I'm gonna send you the money to come back so we could be a happy family and this and that. And
The case keeps getting weirder, one revelation at a time.
Did you want to sign the birth certificate?
Yes, because
he didn't want to.
He kept behaving so aggressively that the hospital needed to kick him out.
You
So
got
he
kicked
didn't-
out the hospital, Mr.
No,
Larson?
Yes, he did.
He thinks he's doing everything in the name of love. Love, the things it makes you do.
So, Mr. Kim Larson, are you still in love with Miss Currington?
Yes.
Yes.
It still creeps me out. I think Judge Lake is disturbed too.
And you're dating a young woman that's younger than your daughter.
Plenty of them.
I believe you.
It was finally time for the DNA results.
Mr. Kim Larson, you are the father.
I hope he fulfills the duties of a father, because baby Karia deserves it. This case starts with a big bomb.
Ms. MacArthur, you claim you've recently learned the man you are in love with could possibly be your biological brother.
I know, we're living in the age of Game of Thrones, but it doesn't make it easier to process this kind of information.
They're important to me because I just found out Mr. Vales might be my biological brother and I'm pregnant.
How did this mess even start?
We have a mutual friend that he came out to Pennsylvania with from Texas.
If they did not know about each other's identity, how did they finally find out?
It kind of got my mind blown. Like in February, I recently went to one of her family reunions.
Family reunions anyway have a reputation for being messy. This one was no less.
I ended up seeing some of my cousins.
As soon as you walk in, you see some cousins.
Exactly.
How come they never met in childhood? Not even once.
I never seen Jeremiah because all of our cousins, like my uncles and my aunts, they would come get us, spend time with my grandmother, and all the cousins and nieces and nephews would be there, and he was never there.
Miss Beals confessed that she is in love.
We're not brothers and sisters. I really want to be with him, and I want to keep the baby.
But what would she choose to do if the baby really turned out to be his?
It's a possibility that he could be. If that's the case, I'm going to choose adoption.
That's ridiculous.
Did anybody else in that family reunion choose to point out the obvious and spare them the trauma?
My auntie, she pulled me to the side. She was just like, I'm not going to look at you funny because like my mom and my other aunts was there and they was looking at me funny in the face.
At least someone decided to step up and confront.
She pulled me to the side. She was like, that might be your brother, and whatever y'all got going on, y'all need to cut it out until you find out.
After this confrontation, they must have dropped their relationship, right?
We did for a while. We tried to, but we had, when I say a slip up, we had sex 2 more times prior to that, after that.
Uh-oh. One cannot even imagine the anger and confusion they must be going through.
My father and his mother, like they kept it on the hush so long, like this would have never even happened if we would have known about each other.
Turns out they had planned their future together as well.
We was making plans to get married and everything.
And you wanted to marry her?
I do, Your Honor.
Did they try to talk to their families? What was their reaction?
Have you talked to other family members, tried to
Nobody
figure out?
wants to talk about it.
That's not a good sign.
Like my mom is real religious. She just really don't want that for me, I guess.
This whole thing really got me stressed out.
Mr. Beals brought his brother as a witness. Let's find out what he had to say.
It's kind of funny listening to her tell this ridiculous story, how she claims she didn't know or she had no idea when she first met him.
Why is their psychological torture funny to him?
She's told him before how her sister let her know that she could have a brother with the name Jay.
So what is he trying to suggest? That Miss MacArthur should have never dated anybody with J as their initials?
If they would have maybe just possibly took it a little slower.
But Judge Lake wasn't buying his arguments and decided to offer him some perspective.
When your brother says, hey, I met a girl, I really like her, do you say to him, well, you better make sure she's not your sister?
No, not at all.
Most definitely not. Looks like Mr. Beals' brother is being very apathetic to their situation by accusing them of being ignorant.
I'm not accusing him at all, I'm accusing her.
Wait, what? Why?
For her to be 11 years older than him. In my head, that she does know. That even if they're not brothers and sisters, they could possibly even be related.
But how would I know?
So just because she's older, she was supposed to know it? That doesn't make any sense. And Judge Lake got infuriated at him.
That don't make any sense. A woman is gonna go out and purposely get pregnant by her half-brother.
After all this, the results were finally out.
When it comes to the DNA results for Katrina and Jeremiah, you are not brother and sister.
Gosh, that was close. This case is a cautionary tale for any family that hold paternity secrets. Please, get those skeletons out of your closet because it can ruin people's lives.
Mr. Pitchford Kendrick, you claim she is denying paternity only because she wants to be with another man, and you opened your case to prove that you are the biological father of the defendant's son, Javier.
Let's find out what Miss Saavedra claims.
Miss Saavedra, you admit you allowed 2 men into your bed at the same time. Mr. Pitchford Kendricks is not Javier's biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
It was heart-wrenching to hear why proving his paternity meant so much to Mr. Pitchford Kendricks.
Well, Your Honor, I grew up in the streets of Detroit. No dad in my life. My son doesn't have to grow up like I did, and I just want to make sure.
But Miss Saavedra is convinced that he's not her child's father. She went on to share how they met and brace yourselves, because nothing will prepare you for what she's about to reveal.
Me and Greg met each other through he was dating a roommate of mine.
It looks normal, right? Nothing unusual, but like I said, brace yourselves.
And he came over one day. We did end up hitting it off, ended up having sex.
So did you get it? If not, let Judge Lake explain it for you.
That's Three's Company, right? Y'all too young to know that show.
But the horrors didn't stop there. Yes, there's more.
When me and the man that I believe is Javier's father, Maurice,
I swear you'll never see this twist coming.
we decided to include Greg in our mix and try and spice things up.
Seriously? What kind of an equation was this even? Are people averse to healthy relationships? Judge Lake was as curious as us to know for how long this was going on.
So how often was that happening?
It happened.
But neither her nor we were prepared for the answer.
Off and on for like 10 years.
What?
A decade? What? It's completely nuts. But you know what? This is not even the worst part. You heard it right. Stick with us and prepare yourselves to go down this rabbit hole.
I hooked her up. She asked me, did I know anybody else? You know what I'm saying?
The answer will hit you like a train.
Well, a half cousin of mine.
Are you with us? Could you catch up with all the nasty details? Let Judge Lake summarize it for us. The horror on her face reveals that she herself was not able to process any of it.
You were dating a woman, you ended up sleeping with her roommate, and then she asked you to introduce her to somebody, so you introduced her to your cousin. Her and your cousin invited you into their bed to have a threesome when their relationship needed spicing up.
So essentially, he was in bed with his cousin. But Mr. Pitchford Kendricks also thinks that he had respect for his cousin. Let's find out what this respect means.
Like the times we had threesomes, I was trying to respect him and wear a condom, but...
We are not alone. Judge Lake was equally in shock.
You would wear a condom.
Yeah, for respect for him.
Because that's respect.
Yeah.
But they also had sex without Morris. And if you believe Miss Saavedra, they were interrupted.
We got interrupted that time. We was having intercourse. He ended up messaging me about 15 minutes later and said, I'm on my way.
Who does that? What in the world is this even? And even if it's too much information for us, she was trying to support her claim that Mr. Pitchford Kendricks wasn't the father.
I looked at my phone, seen the message. Greg immediately jumped up, didn't even finish, He ran out the house. He ain't even have clothes on.
Judge Lake was pretty much done with them.
Okay, there's a phrase called Detroit's finest. Y'all ain't it.
She then proceeds to read out a statement from Mr. Maurice.
Last year, Mercedes and I got into it because she thought I was having sex with another woman, which I wasn't. In retaliation, she had sex with my cousin Greg with no rubber. Shortly after, she comes up pregnant.
Looks like Maurice doesn't claim the baby to be his and seems pissed.
I found out that they had been having sex behind my back for years. I don't think her son is mine. He looks like Greg.
Well, Your Honor.
The entire equation is so dirty and messy, yet both of them seem pretty chill. This nonchalant attitude didn't sit right with Judge Lake.
Is this what we doing out here? You all just telling me how to bake a cake.
She then announced the results.
Mr. Pitchford Kendricks, you are not the father.
Well, they created a huge mess. I hope they took advantage of the counseling resources that the court provided. After receiving shocking results regarding their daughter's paternity, the McRory family was back because Mr. McRory believes that his son Keith is not his. But his wife claims otherwise.
Ms. McCrory, you claim you're confident your husband fathered your 3-year-old son and you hope to prove it today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The court papers had something interesting to reveal.
In your court papers, it says you all broke up for a few days around Keith's conception. Is that true?
Yes,
Your Honor.
Was there a third person in the picture? Let's figure it out.
Did you sleep with anyone else? Were you intimate with anyone else?
Yes, I was.
Did you use protection?
No.
You know what this reminds me of? The Ross and Rachel situation. If the genders were swapped. Anyway, she must have informed her husband about it because that would be the honest thing to do, right?
During the pregnancy with Keith Jr., you never told him, even after the birth.
No.
That's messed up. Even if you don't confess the whole truth, it's still lying, especially in situations as fragile as this. Mr. McRory then said that he was hurt because of the kind of pictures Miss McRory posted on her Facebook.
So these are photos that you're afraid she's also sending to men.
There's nothing wrong with that picture.
Yes, Your Honor.
No,
I am. I mean, the first one was just like not too long ago.
While his anger might not be misplaced, do you think we can police people on the kind of pictures they want to post and censor them? Let me know your thoughts. Miss McRory was unable to hold herself together and had a very public meltdown in the courtroom.
Give yourself a minute and then come back in. Let's finish this case.
Miss McRory also had to go through a lie detector test. Let's see what it was about.
Have you slept with anyone other than one man you admitted to your husband?
Yeah, I did.
Ms. McCrory, you were then asked if you sent racy pictures to anyone other than your husband in the last 4 years.
Yeah, I did.
There were more questions, and with each answer, it just proves that she has been unfaithful to her husband.
If you had sexual intercourse with the other possible father, you said no. The lie detector determined you were being deceptive.
What was her response?
What? What the heck is that?
Lying.
No, that's not.
No way! She wants to question the veracity of the lie detector instead of admitting her mistakes? Guts, woman. Let's move on to the DNA results.
Mr. McCrory, you are the father.
Yeah, I told you so.
We are glad, but we hope that they could also save their marriage. Nobody deserves to remain plagued by doubts and insecurities in any relationship.
Ms. White, you claim your daughter's low self-esteem and struggles with her weight have led to promiscuity and questions of paternity.
This is one of the saddest cases according to me. Let's hear the daughter's thoughts.
Ms. White, you admit you are unsure who fathered your 3-month-old daughter, but say you blame your mother for many of your problems.
What made her mother find out about her promiscuous behavior? She says,
it's been since she's been 12, 13 years old. She created an anger problem toward me.
That's such a young age, and frankly, I think I blame social media. It brainwashes young girls to compare their looks with airbrushed models and develop feelings of insecurity. What do you think?
It's like everywhere you go, you have to be a certain size. So when I went to school, I wanted to wear True Religion, Rock Republican. I wanted to wear stuff like that, but I couldn't fit into it.
It's very upsetting to see how we have conditioned young girls to fall for toxic beauty standards. The way she describes her experiences made me so angry and sad at the same time.
It was an incident where, I went in there to exercise and boys was throwing candy and water on me. People could tell you you're beautiful, but if I don't feel it, I don't feel like it's true.
It's honestly heartbreaking. All she ever wanted was to feel like any other normal human. Feel loved,
Valentine's Day, I wanted it to be, walk in parks. I wanted all that and I never got it.
However, her mother has a valid point.
She want boyfriends, but you don't find them like that going on Craigslist. You jeopardizing your life, you getting into cars with people I've never seen before.
Frankly, I can empathize with both sides. The case takes a darker turn when Christy reveals what her closet people did to her.
I was going to my friend's house. I felt as though she was my real friend. She had my best interest in mind.
Not her fault that she chose to trust her friend, but you wouldn't believe what the friend did. Stay with us on this.
I was going out with one guy and, if she didn't feel like he was good enough, she would introduce me to another guy.
I get it. As a friend, you can be concerned. But why not teach Christy how to love and accept herself? Why not encourage her to believe that she needed no man to feel complete or pretty? Because that's what a real friend would do, right? But instead, here's what she continued doing.
So, I always did it to please her. I didn't want to lose her as a friend because I don't make many friends.
The two potential fathers were introduced to the court. Let's find out what they had to say.
We were dating for about a month, and after the month, she had some trust issues with me.
Oh, but why?
After the fact that me and another of my friends had a threesome with her.
That's horrifying. She's an underage teen. Let's hear the other guy.
I met Christy White at a party and started saying, let's have sex and stuff. We had sex. The other guys, they ain't have on no condom.
Hold on, there was another guy as well? Miss White was asked to clarify.
They're both claiming that they had sex with you on nights when other guys also had sex with you.
That's untrue, yeah.
What was Miss White's version of the truth?
But you do say that you had sex with both of them.
Yes, Shauna.
And you say there's a third guy.
Yes, Shauna.
Christy's friend, Miss Miller, was also brought to the court. Her mother was not happy to see her at all.
I blame this young lady for the threesome and all the orgies happened at this young lady's house.
Miss Miller claims that she couldn't control Christy's choices, and soon it escalated into a heated argument.
I can't control that because she's
if that's
a grown
your friend,
woman.
you could have called me.
That's a grown woman.
You know me.
I can't tell nobody what not to do and what to do.
Judge Lake intervened with some words of wisdom.
Any friend that stands by and watches you having sex with man after man after man, that's not your friend. And ultimately, you know this is your responsibility.
Yes, Shauna.
You know that.
Yes.
Absolutely. What she said next needs to be internalized by every young girl out there.
You all using sex like it's a spectator sport? One thing's for sure, everybody's beautiful in the bed with their legs in the air.
Young people shouldn't feel the need to rush into adulthood, don't you think? Anyway, let's get to the results.
Mr. Clopton, you are not the father.
Good.
And then came the second results.
Mr. Langford, you are her father.
Christy isn't satisfied at all.
I just feel like Mr. Langford is very childish and immature.
But she is satisfied with Judge Lake's support.
Judge Lake really understood where I was coming from, and she was right. I need to choose way better friends than Laura.
I hope she takes help from the resources and receives proper counseling.
Mr. Fisher, you claim you made the biggest mistake of your life by signing the birth certificate for 2-month-old Sophia.
A woman confesses to cheating after her child is born. Now her heartbroken fiancé put the wedding on hold. Another case of cheating, but this time it gets worse. Let's hear the opening statement of Mr. Fisher.
You say your fiancé dropped a bomb on you just 1 month ago.
And admitted what exactly?
And admitted you may not be her father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Whoa, that is a bit harsh, Miss Doyle. Let's see what she has to say about all this.
You admit to making the biggest mistake of your life by cheating on Mr. Fisher, but stand in court hoping and praying he is Sophia's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Further, she adds that she's hoping and praying that Mr. Fisher is Sophia's father. Really, girl? If you wanted that man to be the father, you should have stopped seeing other people. I mean, what were you even thinking?
Mr. Fisher, you say today's results mean everything to you. Explain.
When asked to Mr. Fisher about his feelings towards Sophia, this might make you go, aw, because it sure felt like that to me.
She lied to me. She kept the truth from me, and it kills me. I hope I am Sophia's father.
Not just that, he further adds,
I love her to death. That's my baby.
So you say you love her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, if you put it that way, it hurts.
It all hurts. Bad.
Because for the first month of this baby's life, you had no doubt.
Judge Lauren further adds,
so that brand new feeling of being a dad was just ripped from you.
Right down the middle.
On the one hand, she cheated on him. On the other hand, she is saying this about him.
Very loving. He's a very loving father and a very loving fiance. And I just want to move forward with him. And I hope that today, when he finds out that she is his, that's what's going to happen.
A little backstory about how they met. He said he was close to a family member of hers, and that person took him around Miss Doyle, and he fell for her. Further, he adds,
ever since then, I've loved her. She's beautiful. Her eyes, amazing. Her body, she's gorgeous. And she treats me like a man wanted to be treated. All the way up until this happened.
But oh well, she messed up a happy, contented relationship for what? We shall find that out now.
One of his family members, I was on vacation with one of his family members in Florida, and another one of his family members that he was with at the time had texted me.
Oh, we all kind of had an idea what happens next. But, wait until you hear her out.
And he said, Trey's cheating on you, which we call him Trey, but his name is John.
Wow, so a cheating rumor led to cheating, and then eventually breaking off a perfect couple?
So, me, I was hurt. And so I went to be by myself at the pool area where I was at the time. And a guy walked up to me. And he's like, well, you look like you need somebody to talk to. Do you want to go to my camper and talk? So I go back to his camper with him, and we talked about it, and then one thing led to another. He kissed me, and then we had sex.
Well, you heard the woman, but do you think she cheated because she wanted revenge, or because she gave up on the relationship and wanted nothing to do with Mr. Fisher anymore?
Did you ever find out if Mr. Fisher was actually cheating that time?
But sooner or later, the rumor ends. Did she find out that he wasn't cheating on her?
Me and him talked about it, and the family member admitted that it was a lie, that he did not cheat on me.
Judge Lauren asked him how he feels after knowing she's pregnant, and his answer again is truthful.
She had threw up like 3 or 4 times because she was feeling sick. We purchased the pregnancy tests, went back to the house. She took them. One had a faint line, and then one had both lines. And I was happy. That was the best day of my life.
Mr. Fisher was so happy about the pregnancy. Meanwhile, what did Miss Doyle feel about this?
He didn't know that I had cheated on him. And I just couldn't find it in myself to tell him because he was so excited I didn't want to hurt him, you know?
Cutting her off, Mr. Fisher adds how he felt about all this.
But it killed me. Everything inside of me is ripped apart because of it. That baby is my world, and I want her to be mine.
And those dates are pretty much right in the window of time you were on vacation in Florida and had sex with the other guy.
Yes, Your Honor.
He had been so patient and understanding this far, but he can't even look at the conception calendar.
Mr. Fisher, I can see you can barely look at the calendar. You just don't want to even acknowledge it. It's almost like if you look at it, it might be true.
Yes, Your Honor.
Before going to the results, she apologized to him again. But this is what he replied to him.
Let me tell you this. You ain't got to be guilty about it no more. I know about it. And I know you're sorry.
Further, he adds something that gives you mixed emotions about her, but indeed makes you feel very emotional from his side of the testimony.
Just don't hold it on me no more. That's my baby no matter what. And you're my wife. I love you.
He adds that he loves her, and that broke her into tears. Judge Lauren asked her the reason for her cries.
Because he's so understanding, and if it were me in his position, I wouldn't have stayed.
Honestly, I feel the same. He has been so understanding about all of it.
Mr. Fisher, you are one amazing young man.
I've had enough of her cries for this episode now. Let's get to the results, because I don't know about you, but I've been waiting to know about who the father is since the opening statement.
You are the father. Good day, everyone.
Good day, Your Honor.
Mr. Threlkeld, you have entered this courtroom with a marriage on the brink of divorce.
A U.S. veteran learns that his wife was unfaithful while he was serving in Afghanistan, calling into question the paternity of his young daughter. Let's start this case with a testimony from the man, Mr. Threlkeld.
You state that while you were out of the country serving in the military, your wife paraded around town with other men. And she has admitted to cheating multiple times. You claim you are not sure if you are the father of her third child, 18-month-old Liliana, and have asked the court for a paternity test.
Yes, ma'am.
On her hand, she says that his military money wasn't enough to feed her family while he was away, and hence she had to work as a dancer. Okay, I feel bad for her, but it doesn't explain why she cheated on him.
When did you first discover that your wife had been unfaithful?
Actually, ma'am, I was overseas in Afghanistan.
But how did he find out about her stripping for other men?
A soldier of mine came up to me and tapped me on the boot and said, hey, I need to go outside. We need to talk right now. So earlier on in the day, me and him got into some words, so I thought we were gonna, settle it. Well, it turns out his wife and my wife were friends, and she had found out that she was actually stripping as we spoke.
And if that wasn't enough, he had more proof of her being unfaithful.
And I get on Facebook, and there's some clown on there saying, liking all her skimpy photos.
Furthermore, he adds more to her ugly truth.
I went to the phones and I called her and I said, hey, I know you're stripping, I could somewhat deal with. Tell me about this guy that's going on.
And as always, talking about another guy leads to a quarrel.
And she says, oh, it's nothing, it's just a friend, etc. The same BS that every girl says.
First of all, we were done.
To which she had to add her part of the story.
He hacked my Facebook. He invaded my privacy, and he looked into my stuff, into my messages.
Guess what he found out about her in text messages? Why would she even go behind his back if she didn't want the relationship? She could have just left. But anyways, moving on to the texts.
I see, oh baby, I can't wait to see you later on tonight. I had a great time with you. I can't wait to see, the last few days we spent together has been amazing.
These are the messages
yes,
you're
ma'am.
seeing
yes,
that
ma'am.
your wife is entertaining while you're serving your country.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Lauren explodes at her because for all the right reasons. He was serving our country, and she went behind his back for a common man.
What? Your husband's overseas, serving his country, serving our country, keeping us all safe.
Further, she says what had to be said.
What in the world led you to entertain these type of messages on your Facebook, and you've admitted that you had a few indiscretions. What is going on?
They again have a quarrel, and she adds that they were about to get divorced, and only after that she went out to see other men. But she again mentioned that money was why she had to go out, because she had to feed her kids.
This is what I'm trying to understand. Ms. Threlkeld, you say you guys were done.
Yeah,
so in other words, these things that he's finding on your Facebook and these indiscretions you're telling him about, this really shouldn't be an issue because in your mind, you thought your marriage was over.
Stuff as it may be.
Yes.
He felt furious because she was defending her cheating. Let's hear what the man has to add further.
The day I was supposed to come back home from overseas, we were told before we even got on the plane at Fort McCoy, Wisconsin, that there's going to be the color guard, the motorcycles that drive, in front. The news was going to be there. I get there, and not my father, my mother, my wife, like I said, we'll quote that, weren't even there.
Further, he adds something very sad. I personally felt bad for him.
We get there, you know, they call everybody's names up, everybody's clapping and cheering. They come to my name and it's just dead quiet. No one was there.
To respond to his allegations to leave him like that, she says,
No, I was waiting in the car for 30 minutes.
Your Honor,
He never showed up.
Wait. You waited in the car, so when they called his name, he says no one was there to clap or cheer. Did you hear them call his name?
Judge Lauren questions her if she heard in the parking when they called his name out, to which she responded very vaguely.
We weren't at the airport. I was waiting across from his unit where he told me to wait. And I sat there for 30 minutes.
Across? Why would you not wait at the location and support your husband? He is so pissed at her for answering back everything and trying to prove her point that he adds,
Actually, ma'am, 2 weeks before we came back from overseas, my unit actually sent papers to all the family members back home, giving the exact address and time and who would be there at the time. So it's not like somebody didn't know.
He further adds that the news was even on almost every other channel, hence there was no reason to back her excuse for not being there.
Hell, it was on channel 5, channel 8, channel 7, channel 14, and 11.
All fights aside, he found that she called this one number 13 times and called him up to check if she has been sleeping with him. And this is how the conversation goes.
And he answers the phone, hey, you know, I said, who is this? Are you the one that's been with my wife? He said, yes, I've been.
And what does she have to say in her defense? Because she always has something ready to prove herself innocent.
And she starts laughing, saying, I knew he was just gonna say that. He's just saying that to make you mad. And it was ridiculous. I mean, you know.
She did not accept she was cheating with the guy on the phone, but she did say why would it matter because she thinks they broke up and forgot this was a marriage and not just another teenage relationship, and you need an actual signed divorce paper to call it off.
Why would you have a boyfriend if you're married? Paper or no paper?
We weren't. We were done.
You had papers?
Why do we have to have papers to be done? You said it was over.
Because in a marriage...
It's called a divorce.
Yeah,
She sure went dumb there, but wait until you listen to what he considered to be a solution to this.
So you had it in your mind that if I get my wife pregnant, she'll stop stripping.
He discloses that he asked her to take a lie detector test and prove she didn't cheat. At first, she did agree, but as the date got closer, she got nervous and blurted out the truth to him.
She tells me straight out.
What happened?
She tells me straight out about the people that she actually cheated on me with.
To start off the list of people she slept with, number 1.
So you slept with the photographer?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
On to the second time that she cheated. This has to be the dumbest reason to cheat.
I think it's either annual training or drill. She was watching TV next to this one guy, and she started falling asleep, and next thing you know, he rolled over on her, and she thought it was
Your
me.
Honor, when he... No.
And had sex with him.
Let's just get to the results now.
You are Liliana's father.
We hope their kids get the best of them.
Ms. White, you say you have no doubt when it comes to who your 4-month-old child Major's biological father is, even though you were intimate with the neighborhood ice cream man during the window of conception. You are seeking a DNA test as well as $1,846.54 in child care expenses, correct?
Correct.
Although she admits to sleeping with the ice cream man, a Dayton, Ohio woman comes to court to prove one man is the father and sue him for back child care expenses. She says that she paid for everything and he did nothing for the child.
What do you mean?
He bought him 2 outfits and he returned them pretty much.
Mr. Flowers, you took the outfits back?
Wow, what kind of father does that? And had an explanation ready for it.
And he couldn't fit them, and he was probably would have took about 3 months for him to be able to fit the clothes.
Well, you know we buy the baby stuff a little bit big so they have room to grow.
She explains why she believes Mr. Flowers is the father of her child.
Me and Mr. Flowers, that's all we did was have sex. You know, that was our relationship, was based on sex. Unprotected sex at that.
She further admits she was having sex with Mr. Flowers unprotected, and he says that this relationship came with no commitments. And what did he do when he heard she was pregnant?
He never responded.
No.
And so all the way through your pregnancy, Mr. Flowers wasn't there? No doctor's appointment?
No doctor's appointment.
When Major was born?
He came around like in February. I let him come back because I wanted him to see his son.
And like always, text messages are the step number one for finding out a person has cheated.
When you saw that text, that only validated your concerns and the questions you had about the paternity.
Yes, ma'am.
The other guy was called in the court, and Judge Lauren asked him questions to recheck the statements given by Mrs. White. Further, she asked him if he used protection.
No.
Did you use protection?
I used protection 3 times, but the last time I did.
Right, so therefore you understand that there's a possibility that you could be this child's father?
Possible.
When asked what her relationship with him, she said something that made Judge Lauren double-check her statement.
It was just entertainment.
When you say entertainment, what do you, I mean, it's not like it's a movie.
No, because William not around, you know, he had stuff for me to do. We was on the ice cream truck, you know, we kicking it. You know, we go to the house, party, do whatever.
She adds that she just wanted to have fun, and hence been with Mr. Mile.
Because really, actually, Your Honor, I got 8 kids, okay?
8 babies? And still wants to have fun outside? What kind of man is he?
All my kids look just like me, or they got some type of features.
Later, both the potential fathers get heated up about this.
You see the baby?
That's your baby.
Do you see that baby in me? Bro, that is not my baby.
That's your baby.
That's not my baby. Look at that baby.
And what did Mr. Miles do for the child? He said that $500 for a DNA test was a little too heavy on his pocket, since he knew the child looked nothing like him.
So,
I mean,
you did buy some things for the baby.
I bought just a bag of diapers.
You bought some diapers.
That's it.
Further, Judge Lauren asked Mr. Miles a few questions about his personal life.
Mr. Miles, are you in a relationship?
Yes.
This situation has been affecting this relationship?
Tearing it down.
Oh, a two-faced man. This is gonna get a lot worse.
I mean, we never had no
was in a
relationship.
Right, you made that clear. But while you were still with her, you were trying to
rekindle the flames with
this relationship with your
fiance.
Judge called his fiance to the court, and she sure as hell isn't happy about all this fuss. But she called Miss White a what?
Please explain how this has affected you and your relationship.
Well, it's been hard. It's hurtful. She's a homewrecker.
I could never be a homewrecker when your home was already wrecked.
About me.
Your home was already wrecked.
Oh, nothing more I love than a woman-on-woman fight at the court.
But you knew about me.
He was buying my ice cream, though.
You knew about me.
No, I did not.
You knew about me.
No, I did not. No, nothing about you. He just said that wasn't together.
If you want to disrespect yourself, that's one thing.
No,
but
I didn't disrespect
another woman.
The audacity of this man. He keeps lying, but also wants to fix the relationship.
I confronted him, and he lied. He told me that it wasn't his.
Oh, a polite fight initiated again, I see.
You are.
No,
because
I'm not.
you still knew about me.
No, I did not.
You still knew about me.
The fight didn't stop just there.
Still, you still continue to mess with me, and you bought Pampers for my baby.
He's taking responsibility for that now. But are you taking responsibility for being a home wrecker?
No, I'm not.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen,
no, I'm not taking that responsibility.
Let's talk one at a time.
I could never be a home wrecker.
Wow, the child support is more than the usual monthly income of some people.
Ms. White, so you're suing for $1,846.54.
Mr. Flower wasn't too happy about the amount.
That's the amount that all of these purchases,
What's she buying? Gucci
all of
and
these
Prada?
purchases has totaled for 5 months. Well, Mr. Flower's babies are expensive.
It's very expensive.
They are expensive. So listen.
Let's just get into the results, because I've had enough for the day.
His father is Mr. Flowers.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you, Jesus.
We hope that the child grows up with a supporting father.
Mr. Youngvert, you claim the defendant's infidelities not only caused you to cancel your wedding, but also now to doubt paternity of her 2-year-old daughter, Peyton.
After his fiancée admitted to a drunken one-night stand she could barely remember, a man brings her to court in a desperate hope that he is the father of her 2-year-old child. He was asked by the judge what was at stake today at the court, and he responded as follows.
What's at stake today?
This ring, Your Honor. Our loyalty, our trust, our family, the way we handle things day to day is at stake.
Judge Lauren puts the situation in simpler terms.
He's unable to move forward with the wedding until he knows for sure.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
She also added a few more things to the statement.
And that hurts you as well?
Yes.
Because you feel like you were honest?
Yes, Your Honor.
He further adds backstory about the relationship and how it all started.
We started young. She was 16, I was 17, and I always wanted to be with her. I always wanted her to be mine.
He adds more to the statement, and even she has something to add to it.
Ever since then, we've been stuck like glue. I couldn't imagine life without him.
We thought all the pieces were gonna fit together, and they did, for a while.
Let's now move to when they found out about the pregnancy. Everyone is happy with such happy news, but were they happy?
But then, you know, like 5 minutes into the conversation,
I sent him a picture of the paper of the HCG positive test that the doctor had given me.
That was the happiest day of my life.
She further adds to the statement.
He called me immediately after bawling. He didn't believe it was the truth.
So you were very happy?
Oh yeah, extremely.
She explains how happy he was about the baby and how he made dinner that night for them and proposed to her. Then she tells what raised the question of paternity.
We're doing fine, and then all of a sudden we got in a petty argument. I can't remember exactly what it was over, and it lasted for a couple days, and I ended up just wanting to give him his space because he didn't want to talk to me, and I really honestly didn't want to talk to him at the moment.
We all know what is about to come next, a story about when she cheated.
So I went to the bar and I got drunk, and I ended up not remembering anything that happened to me that night, and
She adds more to the story.
My intention wasn't to cheat on him. I didn't go out to have sex with another guy. I went out to just relax, take a breath, and just recollect my thoughts and let him have some time to breathe.
Oh, he plays the man card. He wants details when she clearly said she doesn't remember.
You know, I want details. Every man wants details. Every man wants to know who did it, who it was, when it happened, why they do it.
Let the woman talk about what she recollects about the night.
From that night, the only thing I can remember is taking a couple sips of my first drink. And the next thing I remember, I'm waking up in somebody's bed. I don't know who he is. I don't know where I am.
She is going through a lot of emotions while explaining how she felt when she told him about the cheating part.
And we were still fresh parents, and I was so ashamed of myself for betraying the one that I love, the man that I want to spend the rest of my life with. I wouldn't have said yes to him when he asked me to marry him if I didn't want to spend the rest of my life with him.
My man has a valid point on this one, but if she remembers bits of it, she'd have remembered them from other times as well.
You don't remember this time, how do I know? She's not going to do that again or has already done that again.
Oh, the heated arguments amongst the couple.
I wasn't getting
You weren't getting the what? The satisfaction that you need as a man at home?
Exactly.
With a woman who sits at home all day, every day, taking care of our child, taking care of you?
I wasn't getting the attention. I'm the breadwinner. I'm the one who makes the money.
I never said you're not.
He added that she doesn't have to work, but then he also doesn't let her work and complains about her not earning and moreover cheating on him. There is visually no trust amongst them, and he requested a lie detector test. She sounds so fed up with him already.
He'll just get this wild hair just for no reason. Keep bringing up, oh, well, why don't you go have sex with this dude and not tell me about it? Or why don't you go and do this?
Mr. Youngberg, you're talking like that at home?
Even Judge was shocked by his statement and spoke the truth that had to be out there.
Well, you told the court that you trusted her somewhat, but it doesn't seem like you trust her at all.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
He was arguing about the appearance of the child and pointed out that the eyes are nothing like his, to which she responds angrily.
Two brown-eyed parents could have a blue-eyed baby. It's all about the recessive and dominant genes. You don't know what color her eyes are gonna be.
Here she is speaking the truth again. I respect Judge Lauren for her blunt honesty.
Well, I can see that this has definitely taken a toll on your relationship. Quite frankly, this is a toxic environment for a child to grow up in. You have to know that.
Let's skip to the lie detector test results. She was asked if she slept with someone else other than the man she admitted to, apart from her fiance. Of course, she said no, but is that true?
That was the truth.
I told you!
Now, moving on to the paternity test results.
Mr. Youngberg, you are the father. Mr. Pace, you say you will be crushed today if DNA results reveal you are not the biological father of your son, Prince.
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's hear Miss Fobbs' side of the story.
Now, Miss Fobbs, you say you were caught between the man you're in love with and his best friend.
Yes, Your Honor.
You admit you made a horrible mistake when you slept with both men, but you say you're still hoping with all your heart that Mr. Pace is your son's biological father.
Now, Mr. Randolph is also in the picture. Let's see what his case stands.
Mr. Randolph, you're Mr. Pace's best friend
Yes.
and the second potential father of Prince.
Well, the twist in the case is all about Randolph being the potential father or not.
I would say 3 relationships, the relationship that I have with Miss Fobbs, as well as the relationship that I have with Mr. Randolph, also the relationship that I have with Prince.
And the relationship of a father and son here is somewhere going to be shattered.
So there is a lot on the line for me. That's my little man. We watch TV together, I'm feeding him cereal in the morning.
Let's now get to know, how did Fobbs and Pace meet?
Well, we met while I was actually driving. It was a hot day. She had on short shorts. I'm a leg man.
And the story continues further.
So I pulled over, actually, and we had a conversation. I ended up getting her phone number. We went out on a few dates. We kind of bonded real quick.
And this is how things followed up.
Shortly after her moving in, she became pregnant.
Now comes the angle of love triangle, and this is what we get to know.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a love triangle because the situation with me and Randolph only happened once.
And Miss Fobbs tells further.
Upon me being in the house with Byron, the thing is, he works at night, so he's never really home with me, and I kind of took that as a feeling of neglect.
Now, the chance of mishap was initiated due to this.
The situation with me and Randolph was a mistake, a big mistake.
Now, some other interesting facts started surfacing out in the open.
Basically, what we were arguing about was past. It was just me feeling neglected at home.
And then came the reveal of the act when it actually happened.
At the time that it occurred, but it kind of just got blurted out to me that Mr. Randolph could be a potential father for Prince.
Judge Lauren was really concerned about what was happening.
Do you fear that if it's determined that Mr. Randolph is Prince's biological father, this relationship won't survive?
No.
Yeah, I do.
And while disclosing the results, this is what came out.
In the case of Pace versus Fobbs Randolph, when it comes to 4-year-old Prince Fobbs.
And the verdict continued further.
And whether Mr. Pace or Mr. Randolph is his biological father, it has been determined by this court.
Where it is found out then?
Mr. Pace, you are not his father.
Things were really falling apart with this result. There were another set of results to clarify things.
Mr. Randolph, you are not.
Now this was even more shocking, but Mr. Pace manned up to be the dad.
I wish Prince a very, very happy life, and I'm counting on you all to provide it for him.
I will.
Court is adjourned.
And Lauren Lake was pretty much moved by the settlement.
Mr. Jenkins, you reached out to the court to open a case. You believe that you have a long-lost daughter and hoped to one day find her to prove you are her father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's catch what the other side had to say.
Before the court contacted you, had you ever heard of Mr. Jenkins?
Well, Miss Bond is seriously unaware about the fact.
I've never heard of Mr. Jenkins. None of my family members have spoken on him. I also like to submit this as evidence. His name isn't even on my birth certificate.
Well, let's proceed further now.
Because you've never heard of him?
Never heard of him. No one has ever spoken of him. I've never seen any pictures. My mother never even spoke of him, brought him up in no conversations whatsoever.
And so Jenkins is nowhere to be seen on the birth certificate.
And under father's legal name, nothing is recorded.
Yes, Your Honor.
And some other man was taking care of Bond.
He died in a car accident in 1999 with my mother, and I believe that that was my father.
Now Jenkins tells how he and the mother got to know each other.
Me and her mother was in college together. I'm telling you, she was banging. I mean, she was bad.
And she then got pregnant when they were living together.
So during the times when we was living together, I was going to the doctor with her. I'd like to submit this here to the court, Your Honor.
Yes.
Well, Miss Bond has been oblivious of the fact.
Miss Bond, after your mom passed and your dad, who took care of you?
A relative on my mother's side.
And life wasn't much easy for Bond.
I felt alone. You know, I didn't have anyone to talk to. I didn't have anyone. I lost my mother.
Take your time.
And she broke down saying this.
And I'm struggling. I'm still struggling. I'm homeless. I'm trying to get my children. And I have no one on my side, and I just feel so alone.
Judge Lauren was moved by her state.
I know what life is like to have to go on without your mother. I've lost my mother, and I can only imagine if it was your mother and the man you know as to be your father.
And she wanted to know more from Jenkins now.
The more I was trying to do things, we was both going to school.
I'm sorry, I still don't believe that's the reason to break up with someone, letting outside people get into your relationship.
Well, why was Jenkins curious to meet Bond all of a sudden?
Not just a while back, you know, music artist Prince had died. He didn't have any estate or nothing to leave any of his stuff to.
And he continued further.
So the things that I have or the things that I accomplish in life, I would like to leave them to my daughter.
Well, now the resemblance between the two came into question.
Do you see yourself at all? Do you say, I kind of feel like I look like him?
To which Bond answered saying this.
I look more like him to me, in my opinion.
You feel like you look more like the man you believe to be your father?
Yes.
Well, the only thing that can resolve this issue are the results. And the results are as follows.
When it comes to 24-year-old Andrea Bond, it has been determined by this court, are her father.
Well, Judge Lauren couldn't control her tears too.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
And well, I believe justice was served.
Mr. Heron and Mr. Medley, you are here to prove to Mr. Medley Sr. that you are indeed his sons.
Let's see the other side of the story.
You grew up without a father for 26 years and claimed that when you finally found the defendant, he claimed he didn't know you existed.
Yes, Your Honor.
In the final side from Mr. Medley.
Mr. Medley Sr., you say the results of today's paternity test will confirm you had every reason to doubt all three.
And the hearing starts with Mr. Heron.
It affected me in life. Want to know why he wasn't in my life? Why would you give me your full name as a junior? Why would you sign my birth certificate?
To this, Medley Sr. had his doubts.
When I met her when I was playing in a band, which was about maybe 3 blocks from where she lived. She would come, she would be there.
And he continues further.
Time went on, I started hearing rumors that she was having sex with other men.
Okay.
That's a lie.
Well, the grandma always had other feelings for the kids.
And she told us no matter what your daddy say, you guys are always gonna be my grandkids. And it hurts me so much to hear this man sit here in this courtroom and lie to you like that. Look at me. Do I not look like you?
And the case is taking a sensitive turn altogether.
Their faces, and whether you are or you aren't their biological father, you have to recognize that they've been through a lot.
And the judge is now going ahead to the results.
It has been determined by this court, you are the father.
And you have to see what happened next.
It has been determined by this court that you are the father.
Now it's turn for Miss Johnson to reveal her case.
Miss Johnson, in your statement to the court, you indicated you grew up not knowing who your father truly was.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, she had been through even rougher times.
I grew up in and out of foster care, but I had asked my mom, one day I was looking in my mirror when I was a teenager and I didn't look like her anymore.
But there was an argument over a DNA test.
I never asked you for a DNA test.
No, you told my friend that
No,
you
I
wanted
didn't.
a DNA test. I've even got a picture of you crying afterwards when she's hugging you.
Yeah, and I got pictures too.
But Medley was incapable for child support as well.
Get to the point.
Child support
Get to the point.
Child support took the check. I didn't have the money. So I didn't have it.
Johnson further accuses Medley.
Asked you, would you help me? I text you, you didn't text back. I called you, you didn't answer the phone. I left you a message, you didn't leave me a message back.
And we all are waiting for closure.
I mean, I know. I look like him. Look at the picture. I look like Maurice.
And the DNA results follow up.
Pertaining to whether Victor Medley Sr. is the biological father of Christian Johnson.
And it continues.
Mr. Medley Sr., you are not her father.
And there's an emotional breakdown in the court.
I'm sorry, sir.
Judge Lauren cannot hold herself back.
Y'all done broke me down now. I tried to hold the tears back. I'm proud of this moment.
Well, hope this heals up everything.
Mr. Clark, you are suing the defendant for a DNA test and for $1,560 for damages you claim she caused to your property because you deny paternity of her 2-month-old daughter, Vanique.
Let's hear the other side of the story.
You were on fire when Mr. Clark left you for another woman while pregnant with his child.
Yes, I was.
You are 100% certain he is your daughter's father.
Let's know further why Clark has such charges.
Yeah, she burnt all of my clothes up. She came over there one day mad about me and her, my baby, and I told her the baby ain't mine.
And he continues to add.
Trying to get in the house, argue with my lady.
So wait a minute, she comes over your house with clothes
Yes,
of yours,
yes.
then burns them?
But the story was something else.
I was 7 months pregnant and I was just so mad that he left me. Like, you literally left me at 7 months pregnant. Why didn't you leave me after?
The bottom line is he left you to be with another woman.
This was seriously unacceptable.
So you all were together. You all got into an argument. You said you really didn't want to be with a girl that parties a lot. Yeah. So you said it's over?
But the explanation continued.
That other 20% that she's talking about.
They didn't say 100, they said
the
80.
other 20% that she's talking about is the 20% dude that she was messing with.
And then comes an additional witness.
It depends on the type of chemo, the dose, the age of the patient. However, if you ask for general statistics, it is about 77%.
And she continued to say this.
Unfortunately, it only takes one sperm. And so
we say that all the time in this courtroom.
Correct.
Thank you.
And medicine is not an absolute science.
And some real information is highlighted.
Without a semen analysis, there's no true way of us really giving him any statistics.
Now Clark has something to add on.
The first time she cheated, I caught her.
You caught her?
We were broke up.
Hold on, we wasn't broke up. So I went in her, tried to get in the door. I had a key.
And this goes further on.
Tried to get in her door. And she's trying to hold the door back, so I pushed it in. Dude, it's on the couch. And so me, I was like, you know what? Get my clothes.
At this point, Bailey gets all emotional.
Why?
She needs a father. She needs a father. I didn't have a father.
And you really want that for her?
Yes.
Clark was present for the birth, apparently.
So you were present for the birth, Mr. Clark?
Yeah, I was there. She was too.
Really? Did you sign the birth certificate?
No, I wasn't gonna sign that birth certificate, and she gave the baby my grandma's name and my last name.
And Clark's girlfriend came into the discussion.
He asked me right there in front of me, he was like, do you think this is my baby? And I told him the truth. I said, no, I don't believe she's your baby.
As soon as this baby is born.
And the discussion gets weird.
So, Mr. Clark, you actually submitted a baby photo of yourself.
Of myself.
Yes, yes.
And we all wait for the results to be announced finally.
Mr. Clark, you are not the father.
And the judge dismisses the claim.
Your claim for $300 for half of the child care expenses, I must dismiss. I'm being straight up with you. You got to put the big girl panties on.
And this, I'm glad justice was served.
Mr. Milner, you claim the defendant, Ms. Heath, deceived you into believing that you fathered her 3-month-old son, Zachariah Milner Jr.
Let's check the other side.
Ms. Heath, you admit there was another man, but claim Mr. Milner signed the birth certificate acknowledging paternity, and therefore there's no reason for a test to be ordered.
What has been the reason behind this?
And I feel like at the time, as soon as I said that, the light came up above her head, like, bing, I got me a duck, you heard me? I'm finna go ahead and pluck this man for whatever I can.
Where Heath clarifies.
When I met Mr. Milner, yes, he did say he wanted the family. Of course, I wanted the same thing. I have other children, you know. This was not a part of the plan.
Milner tells how they met.
Friend, she was with a family member. Her little family member done stopped my homeboy. And that's when I seen her. Ooh, wait, let me get this little thing. I just moved to Texas, you hear me? I'm from Louisiana.
And the thing about seriousness comes in.
No, we were, as far as I was concerned, Your Honor, within a couple of days, we were in a relationship, literally.
So you all decided, it's just gonna be me and you, let's do this.
Right.
And now what happens when Heath is pregnant?
I don't wanna be, I got 3 kids, I don't need another one, this was not a part of the plan.
And the doubts behind it.
Sure, we just met, and you pregnant 2-3 weeks later?
His family members is the reason why.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, so this happened quickly after you met.
It was very quick.
Then comes further suspicion.
I mean, just go straight to crime. I don't know if the baby yours or not. Ooh.
That is not true.
So I'm like...
That's not true, Your Honor.
But did Heath cheat on him?
It happened prior to Mr. Milner. That's why I don't understand it. I understand his doubt, but I don't understand the fuel to his fire is like I cheated on him. I did not.
And she gets teary-eyed saying so.
I was honest with him from day one about any and everything.
What am I lying
about? I'm sorry.
Well, why was the birth certificate signed?
Because I want, like I said that when I first met, I want a family. And I know when we was doing the giggity, the condom broke. So it could be mine.
The issue had been really crazy here.
Zacario Jr. was born April 18th.
Yes, ma'am.
7/18/99.
You had sex with Mr. Milner on August the 2nd.
Yes, ma'am.
And it continues further.
You had sex with the other man that week of July 23rd through 26th.
The judge was concerned to the core.
That one of my court employees, when she was taking notes on your statement,
yes, ma'am,
she heard something different.
And the reality was something else.
She told me that sometimes they used condoms and sometimes they did not.
Your Honor, I have a situation to where I cannot just not use condoms.
Now only the DNA results can tell.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Milner, you are the father.
Hey! And there were tears of joy.
Hey, look. Listen. It was a huge hump.
Yeah.
But at least we're over it.
We over it.
Well, this resolves everything.
Your mother has told you that a deceased man who is listed on your birth certificate is your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
What is on the other side of the listing?
Now another man, Mr. Edwards, is claiming he is your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Further understanding the situation, the hearing proceeds.
And Mr. Edwards, you claim that you and Miss Ewing were still in a sexual relationship at the time her daughter was conceived and hope to prove that you are indeed...
Casey goes on to tell how she spent her life without a father.
I built a bond with Otis Hawkins, who's on my birth certificate, even though he's not ever been in my life.
Casey's mother tells her side of the story.
It hurts me to find out that's how she feels. If I would have knew that that's what she needed, I would have did my best to help her.
But it has been really hard for Casey in her life.
Me, it was like a dark hole. I was walking down a dark hallway that it was never gonna have no bright light to it. And
Judge Lauren was all concerned and wanted to know more.
You obviously were in a relationship, had a sexual relationship with Mr. Edwards.
Yes, Your Honor.
Meanwhile, Edward was all tears stating his case.
I am so sorry. I felt like this. We lost one. We lost one boy. We ain't losing this one. I'm not losing you.
Edward further clears how she can be his daughter.
It's like the hair stands up on my back. She looks so much like my family. She's got everything that my mom had, what my mom looked like.
Judge Lauren was really touched by what Casey was going through.
Miss Casey, all this time, you really have been torn.
And this gets even tougher when the father who was dead comes out to be alive.
That Otis Hawkins, the man you believe to be your father, was dead.
Yes, ma'am.
But he's alive.
Casey just cannot control her tears, and Judge Lauren is somewhere emotional too.
Oh, I got
That's
this picture.
you.
My sister lost it. I have this picture.
Look at you, baby.
This is the picture I had. My teddy bear, my bed. I love that bunny.
Mr. Hawkins states his heart feelings out in the court.
For the past 26 years, 27 years, it's been in this frame, hanging up over my bed.
Casey was hardly able to speak because of her sobbing.
You done forgot me. Here's a picture right here, Your Honor. I took her to Mississippi.
Hawkins talks about his relationship with the mother.
It just, after some years, it just went bad. When I was overseas when the Connor was born, and that was, when I got back, she was like about maybe 2 or 3 months.
The mystery behind the incorrect information was cleared out.
I don't know, but I know one thing for certain. Didn't nobody in my family put that out.
Did you make up the story about hearing that he had been shot and killed?
No.
And we all had to wait for the DNA results, which were then announced.
Mr. Edwards, you are not her father.
And now the results with the second supposed father, Mr. Hawkins.
Mr. Hawkins, you are not her father.
The results were heart-rending. Hope Casey finds her peace.